They are the most successful sporting franchise in North America. They are maybe the most recognizable name in all of sports. They are as synonymous with the United States as a bald eagle or the American flag. This is the evil empire, the team that everyone loves to hate. These are the New York Yankees, who have won 27 championships in their franchise's illustrious history and have long been the gold standard for success in the sporting world. Despite winning 2 World Series since the turn of the century, the Yankees haven't been back to the World Series since 2009. They haven't had a losing record since 1995 and have missed the postseason just 4 times since then. It's not like the Yankees all of a sudden became this horrible team who refused to field competitive teams year in and year out. They've been on the wrong side of a cheating scandal and play in the toughest division in baseball, which you could argue is their own doing. Greatness like the Yankees can only go so long without being challenged. Now, you could argue that every team in the division has passed the Yankees, both literally and figuratively. The Yankees are in last place in their division, and while they're only a few games under 500, they look miles behind even the Red Sox, who started the year with more question marks than answers. Now, before we dive in, I want to take a second to thank you all so much for all the comments and likes on the last few videos. The support really means a lot to me. We just hit 200 subscribers, and you can rest assured there's a lot more coming. Not just baseball, not just sports, but a lot of other content coming soon. Now back to the video. It's 2023, and somehow the Yankees have all of a sudden looked average. Winning baseball starts at the very top, with ownership. I've been critical of owners before, especially when it comes to teams looking to relocate to new cities or save some money by cutting payroll. But for many years, the Yankees had the single most fearless owner of all, George Steinbrenner. For the boss, winning was everything. Whatever it cost, financially anyway, George would pay it. And the Yankees were able to lure the best and brightest stars to the city that never sleeps. And by shelling out the necessary resources to make his teams better, Steinbrenner won the back page consistently. Nothing happened to the Yankee brand without George being involved. But when George passed away in 2010, the Yankees lost their heartbeat off the field. George was as paramount to a winning culture as any player or manager in league history. While he had taken a backseat to the day-to-day operations a few years prior to his passing, the boss was always in charge of his team. After his son Hal took over, a change in the Yankee way became increasingly apparent to fans across the world. Gone were the days of the Yankees giving out big contracts to the likes of CC Sabathia, AJ Burnett, Mark Teixeira, and other marquee free agents who helped them win championships just as they did in 2009. You could attribute that change to the rise in Moneyball across the league, or simply to the fact that the Yankees just couldn't beat teams like the Red Sox and the Astros, who combined player development with smart spending to build winning teams, not just by signing the biggest free agents like in George's days. But for whatever reason, the Yankees just aren't who they used to be. Though they consistently make it to the postseason, they haven't lived up to their lofty standards as the New York Yankees. When the 2016 season brought the likes of Aaron Judge up to the majors, Yankees fans began to feel like the team was back. They weren't signing the most expensive free agents, but they were putting together teams that had much more realistic chances to win meaningful ballgames in September and October. The new model of developing young talent and spending intelligently, not just more than the opposition, helped put together a ball club in 2017 who made it to the ALCS, where they lost to the Astros and their sign-stealing, scandal-tainted team. Try saying that 5 times fast. The Yankees won 100 games the very next season with new manager and Yankee cult hero Aaron Boone at the helm. But the Yankees finished 8 games behind the eventual world champion Red Sox, and after again losing to the Astros in 2019, Yankee fans began to wonder, what does this team have to do to win? Heading into the 2020 season, the Yankees signed longtime Yankee fan, free agent starter Garrett Cole to a 9-year, $324 million contract. The Yankees got their man, but the COVID-19 pandemic throwing the world out of whack also affected the Yankees. And they would go on to lose in the ALDS, this time to the Tampa Bay Rays. In 2021, it was another early exit as the Yankees made the wild card game but were knocked out by the Red Sox, again. Last year, it was more of the same. The Yankees were booted out of the ALCS by the Astros, who went on to win the World Series. Again, the Yankees came up short. How does a franchise so steeped in history, so carefully constructed, so seemingly guided by divine will, come up short at every major hurdle? In some years, it was just bad luck. In others, it was being on the wrong side of the biggest cheating scandal in a century. It's hard to beat your opponent when they know what pitch is coming. This year, the most glaring flaw with the Yankees is much more simple. The roster just isn't good enough. This was their opening day lineup in 2023. Garrett Cole on the mound, Aaron Judge in right field, fresh off signing a 9-year, $360 million contract to become the first captain since Derek Jeter, MLB veteran and World Series champion Anthony Rizzo, who was acquired at the 2021 trade deadline, young phenom Anthony Volpe making his major league debut at shortstop, childhood Yankee fan Harrison Bader patrolling center, and Giancarlo Stanton providing excessive power as a designated hitter. Add in 2022 Platinum Glove winner Jose Trevino and a few supporting pieces here and there, and the Yankees actually have a pretty good team. But the old adage in sports these days rings true more than ever. The best ability is availability. And simply put, the Yankees were not constructed to withstand the mountain of injuries that have been thrown their way. Free agent acquisition Carlos Rodon didn't make his Yankee debut until July, and he signed a 6-year, $162 million contract. Judge has played in just 70 games this year. Trevino is out for the year, as is 2022 trade deadline acquisition Frankie Montas. The Yankees have had their fair share of injuries this year, sure, but so has every other team in the league. Every team goes through adversity, and every year, teams have to adapt. It's GM Brian Cashman's job to construct these teams. It's Aaron Boone's job to coach them and put them in position for success. And it's Hal's job as owner to enable his GM to make the best competitive decisions for the team. But none of those things have happened, and the Yankees are below 500 at this point in a season for the first time since 1995. And they sit in last place in the toughest division in baseball, the American League East. The Yankees currently sit 9 games out of a wildcard spot, and it's no stretch to assume they probably won't be a factor come the postseason. I could be wrong, but the Yankees just aren't as good as they used to be. And for me, it's because the Yankees are caught in between two minds. They use a ton of analytics to help Cashman do his job more effectively, but at some point, understanding the baseball component will determine how far the Yankees with this roster can really go. Aaron Boone, contrary to what you might think, is a really good manager. And after spending heavily on Cole, Rodon, and Judge, it's apparent that the Steinbrenner family still has money. Not enough to be on the same tier as Steve Cohen, at least as far as willingness to spend, but really not that far off. By passing on the big superstars in years past, like Bryce Harper, the Fab Four shortstops, and maybe even Shohei Ohtani this coming offseason, one thing is clear. The Yankees are caught between tradition and the new school. They don't know whether to go all in on spending like they did in years past, or to rely so heavily on analytics that you'd mistake them for the A's or the Rays. So what's really that causes this huge downturn for the Yankees? Who gets the blame? Is it just Hal Steinbrenner? Brian Cashman? Aaron Boone? It can't possibly be the players, right? Well, it's actually a combination of all of these things. Winning comes from the top down, but the players are the ones who have to go out on the field and deliver. And without a roster constructed to withstand the adversity of a 162-game season, that job gets exponentially harder. It's not the Yankees' fault they're in the toughest division in baseball, but eventually when you spend enough time as the top dogs in baseball, the rest of the pack will catch up to you. And the Yankees' historic dominance has caused their competition to adapt, catch up to them, and eventually surpass them. But again, this is the Yankees. When any other team is in last place, it's a bad year. When the Yankees are in last place, it's chaos, it's a crisis, it's a catastrophe at every level for every person in the organization. If the last few years have been any indication, more than just a simple repair will be necessary for the Steinbrenner family to get the Death Star back to being fully operational. That's all for this one. Let me know what you think of the Yankees' recent struggles in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And drop a like if you enjoyed it. I really appreciate any feedback at all, and it helps the channel a ton. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.